everybody, this is WeaponXSJ, and we're going to do a Warcraft 101 today. First one since Arthas. It's going to be about a race. But first let me get to a little info about the 101s in general. I've gotten like a lot of requests and stuff about them, so I've got them pretty much on every subject. Like, do this person, do this person, do this war, do this race, do the history on this. So I don't really take requests anymore. You guys can suggest to me at any time, which might give me an idea to do something. But I've had so many requests that I can pick any random thing in the lore of Warcraft, and it's going to satisfy somebody's request. Like the one I'm doing today, like somebody asked specifically, "Oh, you should do races instead of people." So this is going to be about the history of a certain race. Somebody said you should do Alliance because I'm Alliance and I don't know much about the Alliance lore. So this is going to be an Alliance race, so that's going to satisfy that. So this is going to satisfy a couple requests. So I'm just basically going to pick them, and they're all going to satisfy somebody's request by default, because so many people have asked for so many different things. So suggest whatever you want, but I'm just kind of going by what interests me, and I do want to do a race rather than just focus on specific stories. So this is just going to be a general background of a race. And the background here, I got something kind of not Warcraft related playing. For obvious reasons, in case you guys can't tell what it is. It's just playing on my Sega. So that's that small tribute. So this is going to be Warcraft 101, history and background on the Dwarven Race. It's going to be about dwarves, where they come from, and their whole kind of history. So it's going to be about, it's going to satisfy somebody's request about the Alliance. Somebody just wanted information about races. I might do that. I might do that on a couple races. One guy keeps asking about Tauren, and so I might eventually get to that. Night Elves, whatever. So here we go. Warcraft 101, Dwarves. So in order to understand the Dwarves, we got to go back, way back, because the Dwarves, believe it or not, are one of the first races in Warcraft ever, in the World of Warcraft, on the world of Azeroth. So we got to go back to the actual creation of the world. To do that, you need to know a little bit about the Titans. Sargeras, who's the demon lord of the Burning Legion, was a Titan a really long time ago. So the Titans are these kind of world creators. They went around creating worlds. They came to Azeroth. There's nothing here basically except a bunch of like elementals that are, I'm a little fuzzy on this, but they were like left by the old gods. The old gods are like kind of evil, but Titans are like akin to gods. They're very similar to gods, and they create a lot of things. But these huge elementals were there. We'll get into it later, and we'll see. But just know that. So they had to fight off some elementals. But then once it got squared away and they saw the land, they're like, okay, now we need to build the world of Azeroth. They built planets before. Sargeras. Let's just get into that real quick. This is going to be a different 101 about Sargeras. But Sargeras, who's the Burning Legion, this whole Burning Crusade, the reason why they keep Azeroth keeps getting attacked. So the Titans create a bunch of things. They appointed Sargeras to destroy all the evil that's being created, because demons eventually came about, and Sargeras is supposed to keep them all away. But he kind of went insane because he kept having to take these demons away, and he eventually came to the conclusion that the only reason these exist is because the Titans keep creating, and the only reason to stop all these demons and stuff, which he became sort of a demon himself in doing so, an evil person, is to destroy everything created. So he goes on this burning crusade and destroys hella planets. We don't know how many planets he's destroyed before Azeroth, but he has a problem destroying Azeroth, and that's the world we know. It's the World of Warcraft is Azeroth. So he's attempted a couple times to destroy it, and that's Sargeras, and that's why there's this whole burning crusade. So anyways, ignoring the burning crusade part for now, the Titans needed to create this world. So they started to create things to help them shape this world, and one of the things they created were called Earthen. These Earthen are basically dwarves with stone skin. They wanted to make these things. They created these Earthen to like dredge out the seas. They can control the land, basically build a mountain, sink down this land so we can put a sea here, a lake here. So to help shape the world, if you will, when they created everything. They failed a couple times though. One of the first failed Earthen were successful with the Curse of the Flesh, which is kind of not really explained, but may be related to the old gods who are kind of the evil gods, as opposed to the Titans, who are the creation gods. Bear with me, it's all a little weird. So the Curse of the Flesh actually infected their failed first attempt, and those people became Trogs. So those Trogs you fight when you're a starting dwarf in World of Warcraft, they're actually cousins, sort of dwarves. They're failed earthen. They look all retarded and stuff, not too much like dwarves, but they are semi-related. They're from the same breath, both created. They're kind of failed attempts at these stone dwarves. The second batch actually became stone dwarves, and they did. They helped shape the world. And then, oh, by the way, the Titan cities are Oldham, Ulduar, and Uldaman, which I think Uldaman is now a dungeon in Wrath of the Lich King. Again, I haven't played the game in a long time. If you've seen my 101s, you know this. But it's one of the newest dungeons, or at least I've read about it, and it's going to be a newest dungeon if it isn't yet. But Uldaman is a Titan city. So when you go through that, that's where a lot of this information is coming from, really, is all the recent stuff that's got unlocked about Dwarven history there. Other information is from the WarCraft website itself, all the lore I read about it, and books, that's stuff I know about dwarves. And when I played the game, you can read books. Like Ironforge's library, it's cool just to read the books. You know, it's getting off topic. But you can endlessly read books, like, in the game itself. And I used to do that when I played a little bit. So, where was I? So those are the Titan cities. So these dwarves live there, these earth and these stone dwarves, and they help shape the world and whatever. So they weren't susceptible to the Curse of the Flesh as of yet. So they're stone form. So they built the city, and they basically live in these Titan cities underground for a long time. Races started to populate. Actually, Night Elves came about, other races. But 10,000 years before Warcraft 1 was the War of the Ancients. And it's basically the first coming of the Burning Legion. This is another 101. There's this whole trilogy written by Richard Knack about the War of the Ancients. Here's a little background on this real quick. This is the revised version because something happened in time where Ronan and Crassus, who are two mages, one's a dragon mage. He's in disguise as a blood elf mage. They have to go back, and this guy Brox, this orc, go back in time on accident to the War of the Ancients time, and then they realize, holy shit, this is the first coming of the Burning Legion. So it's kind of rewritten because they had to go back and fight in it. So the War of the Ancients kind of got rewritten when this book was written. But before, so I take this as the actual lore of Warcraft because it was one way until they had to go back in time and it got rewritten another way. But they're still very similar, and the huge outcome of it all doesn't really change. So the War of the Ancients happened, the first coming of the Burning Legion, and they came because the Night Elves, Highborn they're called, is like the highest rank of the wizardry there. They had this moon well, which is like this magical well that they eventually started summoning demons from because they wanted to bring Sargeras because they were promised lots of power. So this is why the first coming of the Burning Legion happened, is because Night Elves let them in, basically. Anyways, huge mistake. Malfurion, Stormwidge, Illidan, and what the fuck? Tyrande Whisperin, sorry, I forgot her name for a sec, realized how bad this was, and they became leaders kind of against the Burning Legion that kept flooding the world, now all the demons, and eventually against their own kind, the Highborn, to stop the coming of the Burning Legion. In the original War of the Ancients, they just fought them off barely and barely survived. But in the redone one, that's in this trilogy here, it was a stronger Burning Legion because bad things were affecting it. So Ronan had to get involved, and so did Crassus, and so did Brox, the time-traveling people. They had to get involved with the war because it was a bigger war than it originally was, and the Night Elves weren't going to win. So to do this, Ronan and Crassus convinced the Night Elves, who were like kind of pompous asses at the time. They thought that they were the shit, basically, and didn't like all the other races and didn't associate with them at all the other races that existed at the time, which weren't many. There wasn't humans yet. There wasn't blood elves yet. There wasn't you know, stuff like that. There wasn't dwarves. There kind of was, and I'll get to that. So basically, they convinced them to win this fight against the Burning Legion, we're going to need to befriend these people. So Tauren, Furbolgs, and Earthen, the Stone Dwarves, were called out, and they did actually align themselves with the Night Elves and did defeat the Burning Legion the first time. So these Stone Dwarves were like an army. There was a Tauren army, there was a Furbolg army, because these are all really old races. And they joined with the Night Elves and did eventually fight off the Burning Legion, and it was awesome. And that's what happened. So the Earthen were pretty kick-ass. They were Stone Dwarves at the time, and the book's really good. It's written like in huge, like Lord of the Rings style battles that happen all the time. So these huge battles, and it's written really cool. And it's cool because they're commanding all the Earthen, got to work with all the Tauren, and all the Night Elves are trying to do all this shit. So they eventually did stop the Burning Legion.